Hi, this is Edward with sonsofgod.com. It's Thursday the 28th, I'm guessing, of October. It's October, right. This is a word that came a couple days ago. I've got a few notes, and I've been meaning to get this posted. The title of this word is What Creates the Atmosphere? Right now, if you're tracking with us, we're definitely pursuing this open door and this window of time that we're in. I know that it's predicated on the ability to see, and that very much has been our drive. But I began to give some thought the other day to what it is that we're doing on our end of things. We're endeavoring to walk in obedience to what the Lord is beginning to reveal, whether it's where we pull the plug or how we move in faith, exactly what it is that He's requiring. But in the past, we oftentimes would minister to couples, and so often the Lord would speak a word about creating the atmosphere, and that atmosphere really has to do with what you create for your spouse. If you're married, the man for the wife, the woman for the man. You have that ability to create an atmosphere for the other one to come forth, even if the other one is an unbeliever or maybe not on the level that you're on. Your faith really is very dynamic in creating an atmosphere for the other one to become. That is something that Ann and I have studied and watched for a long time and are very much driven to be for one another. But I began to think about the word earnest expectation. And during this season of time, it's sometimes easy to get caught up with the dynamics of what we're doing and what we're pursuing, or in our case, some of the warfare that we're dealing with, and lose sight for a moment that what we really want to do is create an atmosphere for the Lord to move. And to me, it really comes down to our expectation. And I looked at a couple scriptures. Of course, Paul was famous, or is famous, when he said in Philippians 3, how he says, not that I've already obtained it, or have already become perfect, but I press on, that I might lay hold of that for which I was laid hold of by Christ. And I don't regard myself as having laid hold of it, but one thing, forgetting what lies behind, reaching forward to what lies ahead, I press on toward the goal. Go back into the literal Greek, and the real expression of what Paul is saying, which I love, is he's living with his neck stretched out. So, I'm not really into really pursuing the mental literal behind a lot of the scriptures. It's like, sometimes it's fine, but what I'm more interested in is it's not the words, but it's capturing the spirit of what is being said and and the spirit behind what's being said. So you could say, oh well, Paul was living on the edge. He was earnestly expecting, but somehow the intensity of that can escape you until you look at something like this and you said, and what Paul was saying, he says, I'm living with my neck stretched out. I'm reaching as far, I'm on tiptoe, and I'm reaching as far and as hard as I can to grasp the goal. And I feel as though that is the atmosphere that we need to be living in during this time, over the next couple of months, and the time that we've been in now, is to be living in an expectation, a living and daily expectation. And I want to be careful not to throw it off into a wait-and-see mentality, as if we're expecting for something that's not here. It's kind of a play on words, because what we're expecting is here. I'm not expecting for the Lord to give me anything. I'm not expecting for the Lord to all of a sudden bring an endowment and say, okay, there you go, because we already have it. The endowment has already been put within us. We have this. what we're looking at right now is an accelerated time of unwrapping. And if you read part of the book, you'll remember where I talked about layers, the example of the onion, where we're taking layer after layer off. I'm checking my time here. I don't want to go too long, YouTube, but we're in a time where God is tearing or peeling off layer after layer, and it's happening more quickly. And you can identify it in many ways. You can say, well, we're pulling the plug on the soul, and as God begins to reveal to us, because we know that God's intent is to see the end of the soul, because the soul is not going to inherit the kingdom, and we're not going to drag the soul with us into resurrection life. So, and so where are we poised right now? This is where we're poised. Whether it's 2 people or 20 or whatever it might be, it's certainly a very small remnant that are going to establish this beachhead of resurrection life. So if you haven't really thought about it, it's something to really think about very seriously. That what we're looking for is not more revelation and more insight. Not that that's not great, but we're looking for fulfillment of what God has already given, what He's already established within us, but that has been elusive up until now. And to me, that's what this window is all about. We're seeing a ramping up of that which is eliminating that which has hindered us, a peeling off of layer after layer. And I was looking at one other scripture, and it said, I was just thinking about this. It says, Hebrews 9:28. So Christ also, having been offered once to bear the sins of many, shall appear a second time for salvation to those who eagerly await Him. And of course, there's different translations. Some say, to those that wait for Him. And in any of these, I don't know that it's capturing the essence. You can say, well, what is the real spirit behind Hebrews 9:28? The real essence is Philippians 3:12. There's a drive, a tenacity, a groaning, an earnestness. We're not just waiting passively. We're not just looking, to those who look to the Lord. There is a demand and a drive because of the provision and because of the fact that we're here. So that pretty much nails what we have been feeling. There's a number of other words we'd like to get posted if the Lord permits and we get to it. But let me see if I can read you a couple of other notes here I typed up. One was, a classic example is our dog. We have a dog, his name is Tux, a little cocker. Love the dog, but a pain in the catush. Anyway, I'll read you what I wrote here. So Tux knows that he gets fed once a day. And he not only makes sure that we're up at a reasonable time, he is constantly on our case until he's fed. Oftentimes it seems like a tug-of-war with him as his little soul patiently waits for feeding. So you think it would stop there, but no, it really doesn't. All throughout the day, if we take a step towards the kitchen, he's right there, just in case we might have a little something extra for him. And it goes on this way through the evening, even though he knows better. But to me, it's like Tux is a classic example of the expectation level. He's constantly on our heels. And you might say, well, that's just how a dog is, and that very well may be so. But here again, it's just that expectation that we have on our part, that when you wake up, when you go to sleep, there is that reaching in. And it's not the rapture, wait and see, oh, God's going to bring a visitation. It's an anticipation that moment by moment, a layer is going to come off. Your eyes are going to behold Him, and you're going to see even more clearly. And as we've said before, it becomes exponential because you see a little bit more and you have a little bit more leverage, and you're able to change a little bit more. Let me see if there's anything else in here that I haven't already talked about. No, I don't think so. This is just meant to be a short little, what we used to call combat communication many years ago. Here again, this is what we're contending for, and this window of time, we're going to wring everything out of it that the Lord has set before us. So that's it for now, and we'll have something up, I think, probably by tomorrow as well. Thank you.